let me be the first to say that A, I suck at video editing, and B, I am not qualified to give any of the information or opinions that I'm about to give, and you should definitely keep that in mind. So here we go. This is the first time I'm actually sitting down trying to film content specifically for YouTube, and I have failed miserably. I had this vision of trying to do like a split screen thing and show you all the information that I was relying upon for doing my very first Prepper Aware, Prepper Conscious, Prepper Curious threat assessment for January 2nd, 2025, and I'm just terrible at it. So I'm literally going to hold up an iPad like an idiot and try to show you why I have set our threat assessment level where I've set it, and it's gonna look like crap. But let's just get it out there. Let's just pull the Band-Aid off and start doing it. We'll figure it out. We'll go through this process together. We're on a journey. Somebody should make a mixtape. So again, this is my attempt for people who are thinking about prepping, new to prepping, prepper curious, prepper conscious. This is a threat assessment. Like, where do I think we should be on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the least concerned, 5 being bend over, it's going to get bad. And I'm calling it the SGW scale. SGW1, just be aware of your surroundings. Okay, there's nothing, I don't really see anything on the horizons. Again, I am not qualified to give these opinions. You should not rely upon me for anything serious at all. Okay, if I say something or show you something that sparks your curiosity, please go do your own independent research based on where you live, your particular circumstances, and make the decision that's best for you. Do not count on me for anything. Be very clear about that. So, basically, here we go. I'm going to, for January 2nd, 2025, I'm setting the SGW Shit's Getting Weird scale at about a mid to high 2. And the way I reach that is looking at a number of data points, which I'll try to share some of them with you by holding up an iPad because I'm old and technology escapes me. But anyway, I'm looking for things that I think could potentially impact a large number of people or a large geographical area. Obviously, there are exceptions to everything, as we've seen with some of the tragic events in New Orleans, Las Vegas, New York. It's hard to see those coming. Sometimes you can pick up on some cues that might lead you to think something is afoot, but that's hard to do. Our government spends hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars trying to do that. And I'm some old dude sitting in an office that has no formal training in that whatsoever. So, but anyway, here we go. But I am, I'm interested in prepping and being prepared and being aware and trying to educate myself. So I'm going to share that with you because, I do it for the fans. So first up, see, I'm holding the iPad like this flight app. Okay, this lets us track all the flights that are in the air. Pretty cool, right? So what I'm looking for, and you can look over the United States, Europe, etc. And what I'm looking for is if there are dead spaces of air. I'm seeing if flights are being diverted around something or being diverted away from something, and that doesn't seem to be happening here. We can also filter this down and look at military aircraft, and I'll try to do that and show it to you, but again, I don't know how well this is coming through. My vision has just gone out the window. But this is one of the things that I'm looking at, right? It would make sense that if flights are being grounded, if they're being diverted away from somewhere, you can also, like I said, filter this for military or governmental aircraft. If there seems to be a lot of military aircraft in one particular area or going to or from somewhere, could let us know that something is awry or that there is skullduggery taking place somewhere. So that's one of the data points that I looked at in coming up with this. As you can see, especially over the United States, that's actually, whatever, I'm backwards. The skies are full. There's people everywhere. I'm not too concerned when looking at this particular data point. All right, now, as you can see, we add our filter for military aircraft. Not anything really suspicious going on. Therefore, not that concerned. So let's see what else there is. Again, I promise I'm going to get better at this. I've just got to figure out how to do it. So some of the other data points that we looked at in making this January 2nd, 2025 threat assessment, was we looked at the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of State, at their travel advisories. Are they advising U.S. citizens not to go abroad anywhere? And there wasn't anything peculiar that popped up when looking at that. There were some of your, I guess, repeat offenders, if you will. Maybe that's not fair. Countries in Africa that they have issued like a level 4, do not travel to: Lebanon, Belarus, Central Africa, some stuff like that. Again, those are kind of the people that pop up on the list on a routine basis. There was also, an advisory against, terror attacks directed towards U.S. interests. That's kind of commonplace nowadays. So, but there was nothing new or shocking that I saw. Again, I've only been monitoring this stuff for a short period of time. So then I always like to check on our friends across the pond, because I like to see what other governments are telling their citizens about coming to the good old United States of America. So because I'm, I only really speak English fluently, and I can only really read English because of the American education system. I like to check on other governments, so I checked on our friends across the pond, our mates over there in the UK, and see, what's the UK, what's their government saying to their citizens about coming to the United States. Again, there were some advisories regarding the events in New Orleans, New York, and Las Vegas, saying, be aware, try to avoid large groups. So nothing new there, nothing, they're not telling people don't go to the United States. They're just saying if you're going to the United States, try to avoid large crowds. Fair enough. So then we hop down to the Southern Hemisphere, to the blokes down in Australia. I would like to party with some Australian people, although I'm a little scared. I'm an animal person. I just feel like there'd be live wildlife involved. And while I'm a wildlife guy, like I'm down with I just don't know if I'm ready for Australian wildlife. It's a little intimidating, but I'll try it. So if anybody wants to invite me to come party in Australia, I'm down. Assuming my wife will sign off, which who knows. But anyway, yeah. So I checked the Australian website. They've also got a great thing. You can, if you want information on how to find these websites, I'll be happy to give it to you. Just let me know. Their travel advisories with regards to the United States. They have a map that's color coded, which is we're green. Green is your solid gold. You're good to go. Again, just be aware of large crowds. Things of that nature that did, have a little post about New Orleans and New York and Las Vegas as well. So there you go. What else did we look at? We looked at the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Nothing from there. Nothing of their press releases. Again, I don't know if they put anything out there. And I'm trying to dig down on that a little bit more. The National Transportation and Safety Bureau or Board, I looked at them. Again, those folks really just come in after something has happened to investigate. But I'm just letting you know, I looked at it. I didn't see anything there either. Nothing from their press releases. Looked at FEMA. Nothing coming out of FEMA. So those are the types of things that I'm checking on a regular basis to see if I can spot anything funky that may, cause us to perk up a little bit and say, what's going on? Why are they doing this? There's some apps that will allow us to track commercial boat traffic, commercial maritime vessels. It's a little pricey, and so I'm not quite ready. I don't know if I'm going to pull the trigger on that. We'll see how well this goes. But, I wanted the airplane one because a whole lot more airplanes out there than there are big boats. But anyway, I digress. So this is my attempt to explain how I'm coming up with these bi-weekly prepper-aware, prepper-minded, prepper-conscious threat assessments for you guys. But anyway, let's go back to my January 2nd level 2. The reason I've got it at a level 2, really the primary reason is from the National Weather Service. We have this polar vortex that's dipping down into the southern United States, and us people in the southern United States, we don't do cold well at all. And they're talking about temperatures colder than we've seen 25, 30 years. So that's going to be a problem. It can be, let me rephrase it, it can be a problem for those of us in the southern United States. Our homes are not prepared for it. You get a lot of pipes bursting, so you're looking at the potential for loss of water for extended periods of time. So you may need to go buy some cases of water or fill your bathtubs. What I would do for drinking water, cooking water, I would buy bottles of water if you want to, and then fill up your bathtubs if you can, and use that water to help flush toilets. That's just kind of my personal tip. That's what I would do. You also you are looking at the potential for power outages. You had the Texas situation in 2020 with the big freeze. The power grid couldn't keep up. We lost power for several days. You can also have, if you have a wintry precipitation that builds up on trees, power lines, you could have loss of power for an extended period of time during very cold periods. So you need to start thinking about how to keep yourselves warm. Sleeping bags, get those out if you've got them. Big blankets. Do not be very careful about putting heaters inside your house. Definitely don't use anything like a gas-powered heater or something like that. Propane heaters, you have to worry about carbon monoxide. They're extremely dangerous. Please be very careful. But start thinking about, if I need to heat up, how am I going to do it? So just be aware of that. That's why I've got us at about a high to mid 2, because of that polar vortex primarily, but also with some of the evildoers and the things like New Orleans and Las Vegas and New York. I would avoid large crowds for a few days until we can get to the bottom of all that. So there you go. My first YouTube specific video as Dad Dangerously for my prepper assessment, threat assessment. I'm sorry. I did a poor job. I can do better. I will do better. I've got to figure out how to show you in an efficient way other than holding up an iPad like a dang idiot. But it's a process. So there you go. Be prepared, but don't be weird about it. If you're going to be weird, be fun weird, be cool weird, because the world needs weird people too. Just let's use our weirdness for the powers of good.